Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Next Forecast, where we highlight forward-thinking leaders who are shaping the industry in the real estate. Today, I have a truly special guest, Richard Stott, who is the managing director of Kexgill Group. Richard, thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Can you walk us through a bit about your background, your role, and tell us a story like how you got started in this business in the first place?
I came via a traditional route. I did a real estate degree a long, long time ago at Trent Polytechnic, which is now Nottingham Trent University. I then went into traditional surveying, general practice surveying. I eventually set up a company which became part of a larger nationwide group. I sold that and I joined the Kexgill Group initially to establish ourselves in Germany. And then I took over as the managing director about 10, 11 years ago. Since then, we've had a focus on purpose-built student accommodation, collaborations with the universities, and we're still around. We've been around since, or the company's been around since
Yeah.
1978. So it's quite a long-standing student provider. We're in 8 cities, and in another city we do something else. And we're in Germany, Dortmund, we're in Berlin. We're mainly around Dusseldorf and Dortmund.
Nice. Can you also share like what was the biggest surprise for you in those early days, I can say?
Biggest surprise to me well, really when you go to university or
Yeah,
polytechnic for me, then you do sort of technical things and you learn things. And really, when it comes to property, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche. There's only three things, and it's location, location, and
yeah,
location. And that is actually it, isn't it, really? Um, Adding to the mix now, the surprising thing, I think, in my business at this moment in time is the financial security of universities. I think that's the
yeah,
thing that 10 years ago, I would never be thinking, well, I'm a bit worried that this university might merge. This university is having real problems. That's a surprise. Um, and it's something that's come quite rapidly. It shouldn't be a surprise because the grant or the amount people pay, domestic students
yeah,
pay, isn't enough. It hasn't gone up with inflation. But I think we've been in a false world of relying, or universities relying on international postgraduates paying more money. And if for any reason those numbers go down from various locations, that's had a big impact. And coupled with the fact that universities struggle to make any money out of
yeah,
domestic undergraduates, means it's an interesting market and a market for us which we have to pivot around.
yeah. I agree. I agree on that part. So, as you mentioned, you are now focused on the student accommodation niche. What like you inspired to be focused more on this part?
We like students. It keeps me young. It keeps our team young. We like dealing with it. We like the facts, which sounds ridiculous. In Germany,
Yeah,
we have multifamily housing, which, to be honest, it's a bit dull. They're always there and it works well, etc. But with student accommodation, you're constantly innovating, constantly thinking, well, we're full this year. We need to be full next year. What do we
yeah,
do to refresh our accommodation? Who's the newcomer on the block? And what is the strength of the university? It's not easy, but that makes it interesting, doesn't it?
yeah,
It's
yeah. It
it's not
does.
just a financial play. Well, here we are. I've got
Yeah,
25 years of income. I can sit on that. I can finance that and buy something else. We've got this. We've got the properties. We've bought them. We've got the debt to pay. How do we improve? How do we keep relevant? How does our technology, which is going to be a key to student accommodation, or becoming more of a
yeah,
key to student accommodation? Because when I first started, not many landlords were all
yeah,
inclusive. Now you would expect a tenant to walk into something really easy. You'd suspect them to sign up with a couple of clicks, and then they're there, and the internet works, everything works. And if something goes wrong, they press a button, and our
yeah.
maintenance men come. That is the future, and that's what we're working to at the moment.
Yeah, awesome. Great. And it's a big step for you and also like a big thing like to secure the future to all of these students, I can say, and make their life easier to like just let them push and do their best on their own, I can say, career and their own path. Great. So let's ask like how did your experience in Germany shape your approach to the UK market?
That's a really good question. In Germany, we bought multifamily residential assets, and we also part set up a fund with a housing association and spent about 70 million with the fund and about
Yeah.
35 million with ourselves in euros. And the the investments that do really well have a really good housemaster, and that seems like a school, but it's not. And that is somebody who looks after the building, who typically
Yeah.
will be outside picking up cigarette butts, saying, this is unacceptable, this is great, and really looking after it. And if they care, that means you kind of get the buy-in for the tenants. We did buy, but part of the fund, we bought some student accommodation, and that was a real learning curve where
Yeah.
the students bought the kitchen. I mean, I
Okay.
would do it in generally in some German transactions. You know, you
Yeah.
you you put or set on the renting, they buy the kitchen off the previous tenant. But I thought, well, that's not going to work in student accommodation, and it did. And for one development which we bought in Paderborn, always full, always a waiting list. And then when the students came, they bought the kitchen off the previous tenant, which
Nice.
that's a learning curve. Might be changing a
Yeah.
bit now, but and Germany is all about strong management, strong leadership, having a fantastic house martyr, and that can be that sort of did influence us because the way we look at student accommodation, the way we look at how buildings work, it's often down, well, it's generally down to good cleaners and good maintenance staff. Nobody wants to see me, but they do want
Yeah.
to see a cleaner, and that the cleaner's there every week. And if they're fantastic human beings who chat and like the best auntie or uncle for the tenants in there, they really like them. And that's how a building becomes successful. It's the
Yeah.
human element. It's not everything doesn't have to be an app, which clearly it does, but you've
Yeah.
also, the app can't clean. The app can't spot
Yeah.
if some tenants aren't so happy. The app can't talk to them in a way that a human can. Um, and I think that's so important when students get lonely. It's a dangerous demographic, 18 to 25. And I want to retain the human element. Yes, you can report your repair or your problem by clicking a button on your app, but
Yeah.
then there's got to be a thoroughly decent human being who turns up.
Yeah. Who's gonna see that button click or see that like manages and configs those things. Yeah, fully
Yeah.
agree on that part. So besides all of this, I can say facts you mentioned. Are there like any practices from Germany you wish were more common on your market right now?
You mean the comparison between Germany and the UK? For
Yeah.
student, there's differences in that the student market in Germany is more long term. People tend to sign up for 3 years and stay there for 3 years. We have more of a moving market, and we have in the UK, in Germany, there's very little institutional
Yeah.
purpose-built student accommodation. In the UK, there's a lot more. Typically, students in their first year live on campus, and then they come to we get the returning students. So that's slightly different to us in Germany. But things are changing, and I did try and move into student accommodation in Denmark, in Copenhagen, but I was just a bit late, and my pockets weren't deep enough. And some other English private equity, not us, we're not private equity, whipped
Yeah.
in and bought everything that didn't move. So we had no chance. And now since the market's moved and interest rates in Denmark are a little bit higher. So
Yeah.
yeah, there are changes, there are differences in the European market, but I'm still very much interested in
Yeah.
how the markets pivot and change around Europe for student accommodation. And a lot of the data I get from that, a lot of the feedback I get from the Class Foundation, who are active amongst in Europe, Spain in particular.
Yeah. As we were talking about changing, I can say the market right now, what are like the most significant trends shaping the student accommodation sector right now, including the technology and AI overall?
I think AI is massive. It will change the way we do things.
Of course.
Should make it easier. It should make us employ less people. Um, Not from a hands-on perspective, but from a sort of this task will allow you to get to a repair quicker and you report a repair quicker and book your accommodation easier and make that a
Yeah.
more seamless um, experience. So that way, I think it will change our management functions, but we are always staff heavy in the relation because we always do our own repairs, have our own cleaners. And I keep coming back to that because the human element, I really don't want to lose that. And I
It's
don't
not
want a string of
replaceable.
contractors because that
Yeah.
could be somebody new turns up. I've come to repair your fridge. I want the same person to go and do that. I want the same cleaner to go in there because that way it kind of, I see students, we opened up a food kiosk. It's outside my office, makes me really nice coffee. That was one of the reasons. Um, but the staff in there are trained to remember people's names, which I'm awful at. But they can remember it because sometimes a student will go to the university. Nobody in the house or the cluster flat speaks to them. They go to the university, nobody speaks to them, then they go back. But when they go to get a burger or a coffee from our kiosk, they'll say, "What's your name?" "Oh, hi, Pete. Welcome back." Um, and it's just so important. And that will remain our focus. Our focus is on affordability, but making it human.
Yeah, I fully agree on that. But as you mentioned, like with the point is not like reducing the staff, but of course knowing how to use the AI and the, or I can say the technology. But I think one thing that people are like missing is like also the staff have to be trained to use like the latest technology. If you don't want to be replaced, as you mentioned, the cleaner, the repair guy, all of these kind of people, they also need to be trained like how to use the AI, how to get the newest report, how to get like the latest information from which floor. Okay, we have this issue in this floor. So just they have to adapt, I can say. As
Uh,
you were talking about the affordability, how do you see it impacting the future of student housing?
It's a massive thing, affordability. Um, Rents during the pandemic went up. We came out of the pandemic, construction costs have gone through the roof, planning
Yeah,
delays have caused issues and expenditure problems. Um, it's really hard. If you're building something new, this is a general figure, about 120,000 per bed. So, I mean, in order for you to build it for that, once you've built it, you've spent all that money, you need a yield on your money to pay the finance, to pay the
yeah,
shareholders. So you need a rent 220, north of 220 a week. And that makes it, in London cheap, but the rest of us, that makes it quite expensive for cluster apartments. And one of the problems of planning delays is that you can get markets like Nottingham, for example. We're in it there. We went for
yeah,
planning. It took a little bit longer, a year longer. The construction took a bit longer. And by the time you finish it, there's almost an oversupply in Nottingham. And
yeah,
you think, oh, really? I wish we'd finished it 2 years ago. But there's still been oversupply and there's so many beds coming on. When you think there's a shortage, it
yeah.
has been getting filled. I think Glasgow's the same. Bristol rents went through the roof, but I think that will reach equilibrium at some stage.
Yeah.
It's picking your city, picking the university. It's great to have locations where there's more than one university. That helps.
Nice. I like the perspective. So now I want your perspective on something like you as a manager director and you as a person who have been in this space for a long time. What do you think? What role do partnerships and collaborations play in responding to the market changes, I can say?
It's our future. not
Yeah.
everybody's future.
Yeah.
Um, we've made a strategic appointment. That's Stephen Willis, ex CFO from Durham University, current chairman of Unipol. And I've known him many years. We work really well together, and he provides the knowledge of how universities work. And we work, I'm a little bit more blunt. He is
Hmm.
more university speak. And again, that works. And I've been really lucky having a great team of people, a financial analyst we work with. Um, and that being in partnership is a big thing. It's with
Yeah.
in particular with the university, it's not easy. It's not easy from their perspective dealing with us, but we've all got the same goal to keep the price affordable, to make sure that people have what's known as the rite of passage, which is what I had. I left home, never came back. My children left home, never came back because they went
Yeah.
away to university and they meet friends, they have experiences, and it makes you as a person. I'm not a fan of commuting students, and I understand why they do it because they can't afford,
Yeah.
but you don't have the same university experience. And I think working with universities to create affordable or relatively affordable accommodation is the key to our business because we've always been in that space. We've never been chasing the, I would say, the Chinese international students. That's
Yeah.
comes, but they're now looking at more affordable rents. We've never been into masses of studios, only where there's a shortage. Um, we are looking at this. Not it's not as a charity because we're not a charity,
Yeah.
but we're just looking at doing it right. And if the industry constantly builds the most expensive accommodation with gyms, wellness rooms, which are great, but someone has to pay for them, you're losing out on affordability. And really, people have actually said, some of my managers said, Richard, you need to put a gym in that space. I'm not putting a bloody gym in because there's a gym round the corner, fully staffed. I'm not putting one in. If they want to go
Yeah.
to the gym, and if it's a marketing prerequisite, we'll give them a discounted gym membership. What you shouldn't be doing is loading everything on the price.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. So to jump a bit on I can say the business challenges overall in the industry. So to see this from a different kind of view. So you as a managing director, what are some challenges you are facing that can have that are like keeping you back from winning also more money, getting your clients, and helping also more students in this place? Now, seeing this from the business side of things, what are some challenges that you seem frustrating that with those gone, you can also have me be more successful, I can say, or also scale faster in your company?
I think, well, I always think that because we're based in the north of England, I feel that we're geographically challenged.
Yeah,
But I've been lucky. I've got the right people working for me.
nice.
And that can be a challenge for some senior positions, but I'm okay. I've done okay, but it's because there is a gravitational pull to London, probably Manchester. So that's a challenge if we needed a certain person to work for us. I'm not massive on remote working personally. I like to go in and have banter with people. Um, I I feel sorry when people I know, and certainly from my children's generation, go to jobs and they're kind of based at home all the time. They don't get into that learning experience by talking to people. It's not quite the same on Teams. That's a challenge. The
Yeah,
challenges are interest rates are too bloody high. I thought they were going to go down a little bit more, but
yeah, of course.
inflation's a little stubborn. Energy costs are too high. They're fiscal challenges for us. It's expensive. We've got a bit of debt. That's expensive.
Yeah.
Occupancy for us, the business challenge is the mid to low ranked universities haven't done as well this year. Um, the Russell Group have opened their doors and accepted more. There's unlikely to be a capping of numbers for Russell Group universities, so that's something we have to live with. A lot of our accommodation is versatile, so we can look at other markets such as assisted living, which I will look at.
Yeah.
I will look at co-living. So I will. We have to constantly adapt for our partnerships, which is our future. They are true partnerships with the universities, so I'm not worried about them, but they do take a lot of time to get the foot to get the first spade in the ground. They do take a while.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And also as AI, as you mentioned at the beginning, like AI is the future in like a lot of industry, but especially in this one. How much are you using or integrating to help in your day-to-day work, like help you on the daily task, like like just replace you on some tasks so you can be more focused on some more important deals to be closed, let's say.
Not as much as we should be. It's changing. Um, we we've got people in who use AI extensively. For example, I mean, somebody who and if he was sat here now, I would say it to his face, he is profoundly dyslexic. He
Hmm.
operates within marketing. His ideas are brilliant, and but he can't write an email. So I know every bit of text that comes to me has not been
Yeah.
written by him. It's all
Okay.
AI, but his ideas are not AI. It's because his ideas are ridiculous. And I like ridiculous ideas, and they tend to sort of work and sort of resonate within the company. You think, well, yeah, that's a stupid thing to say, but I
Yeah.
think it'll work. I like that. But he is without AI. I would never receive any communication from him at all. I know I wouldn't because his words get all jumbled up but it's
Yeah.
just his brain is wired in a completely different way. So AI helps him tremendously. So I guess his AI
Absolutely.
is sort of very much connected to him and personalized, but everything he writes to me or says is because it's a kind of a learning process, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, nice. But also, you personally, what are some things that you would change in your tasks, on your things you do daily? Let's say, what are some things that you would like to just to let that job be done by AI?
I would love just to press a button. We're nearly there. It would tell me exactly, which this is probably not AI, but it's probably just better systems, exactly
Yeah,
how many people have signed up for beds in the busy season, exactly where we are financially, minute by minute, which I think we can do, and we are changing our systems, and just an easy button to click. And rather than asking lots and lots of people, I'd like to see more AI analyzing CRM data, which is data who's
yeah,
walked in the because we operate via letting offices as well as obviously via portals, etc. But I like on a returning student market, I like to see people in our offices talking and then going out and talking to the friends um, and talking to people on the courses. We like that. I've just opened this week a new letting office in Nottingham in
okay,
what's known now. It's not prime, it's prime prime. The valuer
okay.
told me, he said, there's not just prime, it's prime prime. So it's even better than prime. It's right
Yeah,
next to the university and just before you get to a supermarket. So a little mini store. So the footfall of students is unbelievable. So we're going to be out there with a net, pulling them in and signing them up, as well as everything else. I know a lot of companies do have no office, they have no base, and they outsource everything. We don't. We'll have an office there. We'll have
yeah.
maintenance, cleaners, managers, everybody.
Nice. And I'll jump into the social presence of a company right now. On this, I can say today's crowded competition, I can say crowded information. How do you manage to spread out the word of your company that the people can also hire you in the first place?
Fragmented. with some real success in some locations, less in others. I mean, and it sometimes it depends on your exposure in a city. If we've got, say, only 300 beds in a location, you're really not going to have much anything on social
Yeah,
media. You're not going to appear in the Google rankings, and more importantly, you're not going to appear on AI because if you're a student, you're not actually searching on Google now. You're putting in what's the best deal for student accommodation in my city? Click. And then a range of options will come up. If we've only got a small presence, we're not going to appear in that. So we have to look at other ways of attracting and filling our properties. So I think working your website and your reviews to appear in an answer on AI for letting purposes is very important.
yeah, I fully agree with that because most of I can say companies in this industry are like using like I can say like advanced websites where they are also integrating like a bit of AI on that. So let's say you as the owner, you are talking, let's say, with a potential client who want like invest in your company. And like you spend an hour and two talking to them, but in the end, they want like a hot league. So they want qualified. So you as the owner, you spend a lot of time on those, you know? And now what are like real estate, I can say websites doing like they are doing like an advanced website. They integrate like an AI chatbot on the bottom. So the AI will talk to you immediately when you like join the website, and he will ask you qualified questions, and based on those, he will just like qualify or compare you to other people. And if you are like a qualified one, the AI will just like chat to you as the owner, and will say, "Hey, we have the qualified lead, hot lead, jump in, so close the deal." So it's like saving a lot of time also for founders, which
It,
is like
I
pretty
can see
pretty
that. And what you're
impressive.
saying is, I'm not there yet. We're not there yet. We're getting there.
Yeah.
And because the change is rapid, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
A
Yeah,
year ago,
it's
the
growing.
conversation was a different. 2 years ago, the conversation, we weren't mentioning it.
Yeah,
And it is, as they explained to me, it's a new industrial revolution. And I think it is.
yeah. And also besides that, as I mentioned, so besides the website, so the same AI can respond to emails, can respond to WhatsApp, your SMS, your
Yeah.
mobile phone, Facebook, Instagram. It can be connected and synchronized with all of these platforms. So you like reduce, I can say, a number of staff people that like manage all of that, and also saved a lot of time for you as an owner. So you don't have to deal with all of those things.
I
And in
can
the
see
end,
it.
the AI will list those in a CRM, as you mentioned, and you will see everything like who's interested and who's not. So yeah, it's AI is like growing really fast.
And
So
I've got to
yeah,
get the right people to do that. It's the right people.
absolutely.
The right person is not me,
Yeah,
but the right people. Hopefully, we are developing as quickly as we can because, as you
yeah,
say, everything you've said, absolutely right.
yeah,
And if we fail to do that, we will fail to get our product in front of enough people and to sign them up in areas where there's an oversupply. What I keep we talk about it's getting access to the people and putting them together so they live with us in
sure.
competitive markets. But what AI can't do is provide the bed, provide the room, provide
Yeah,
the property.
of
There
course.
is still a real business. There's still a bricks and mortar business that we have
Yeah,
that no matter what AI does, it can't actually replicate it. You can't sleep on AI and it can't stop the rain getting in.
of
So
course.
it's interesting.
Yeah, but it's always like when you think that's outside the box, like where to fit the AI. Let's say in this case, you can have a platform where you collaborate with all your partnership, web platform where you have all the students and you can see all those metrics we just mentioned. And just by clicking a button, you can, let's say, order the furniture, send them to this location. With another click, get the payment, send follow-up, set contracts, all this kind of stuff. So can be done through like tech. And as you mentioned, all of like the bed or the furnitures, the actual guy who goes to like fix the bathroom, these people cannot be replaced, but their work and also your revenue in the end can be so much easier and simplified using like the right tech or the right AI automation, I can say. So
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's what you're saying is absolutely right on the money. It's brilliant. But then today, as we discussed before we started this, there's some big
yeah,
outage. And I was contacted before I came on this call by a business school from a university saying, it's like the end of the world. We're so vulnerable.
yeah,
I can't mention the name of the company. There's a big
of
outage
course,
happening whenever this
of
is
course.
played on your. But today there's a whole lot of sites gone down, and I've got people downstairs in my office. They can't do anything because the accounting programs aren't working. Everything's gone down worldwide, and that's the person from the business school that contacted me said, that's really scary because if the more we rely on this, which we will, because we have to, we're in
Yeah, we cannot
business,
outrun it. Yeah,
and suddenly there's a big crash, you think, what the hell?
yeah.
It's, yeah, it's
It's
interesting.
scary. It's scary, but the one thing that can keep you like up tonight is like it's not only you. So if you're
Yeah,
gonna get
correct. It'll be
crashed,
everyone.
you will not be will be everyone. So the competition cannot be like ahead of you because
I
we're
like
all
your
sleeping
thinking.
in this case. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like your thinking there. It's not just me.
So Richard, like before we wrap up, where can our listeners and also potential clients reach out to you if they want to?
I'm happy to talk to anyone. I've taken on a joint MD, so that it doesn't give me any more time, but it just gives me more flexibility to look at other things. If anybody wanted to reach me, it's probably best can I give my email out on this?
Absolutely.
Well, it's Richard, which is really easy, at Kexgill, KEXGILL.com. That comes straight to me if hasn't been stopped by any spam message defense or anyone
Yeah.
else. If it's not stopped by them, I will receive it and I will always reply.
Oh, great, absolutely. Okay, so Richard, thank you very much for your time. It
Pleasure.
was super fun, insightful, and inspirational conversation. And for everyone who is watching, keep thriving, keep growing. I will see you on the next video.